right, the Bucks. I know this is not the preview you're looking forward to. If you're entirely honest, you're already looking ahead. You're already looking forward to the preview on Friday against the team from Fumane. But we've got to get through this one with all due respect. Even though it's 4th versus 16, it is Talking Buccaneers with me, Fumane Msisinyane, before the mighty Orlando Pirates takes on Cape Town Spurs in the DStv Premiership. And yeah, like I said, I mean, we've got to respect these fixtures. It almost is a given that Orlando Pirates should win this one or will win this one. But yeah, even playing at home, it's adding to that fact that it should be an easy fixture for us. But, you know, Cape Town Spurs has played 18 games. They've lost 14, drawn 1, won 3. And that one win that they have is against us. So if not for anything else, just based on that fact, we've got to pay a lot of respect to Cape Town Spurs. I mean, they've not got a position to be proud of in the league. In all fairness, I think they'd be first to say that they haven't done any good in this league. They haven't played, I mean, they're playing in the same division, but they're not playing in the same league as most of the teams in the same division that they're playing in. But yeah, you know, I don't want to get in so much into the tactical stuff. I will a little bit, as much as I want to get into what Orlando Pirates I think we need to be doing, especially in these kind of games. And I think this one isn't too distinct from our previous game against Polokwane City, all things considered. I mean, it's very different in the position on the log. Polokwane City are doing for themselves really well. And I think it's the opposite for Cape Town Spurs. However, I think in terms of setup and approach, I think we're going to see something very similar. You know, my sort of thing about Cape Town Spurs, when I look at them, it's not going to be so much about their system. Well, I think the system that they play in, first of all, I think they're going to be, you know, putting out a 5-3-2 sort of formation. So it's going to be 5 at the back with 3 center backs, and then 2 sort of wing backs who are full backs a lot of the time. Maybe on the once off when they do go forward, especially one of the wing backs will be the one sort of going forward and the other staying back to keep that shape of a 4 at the back. And then they'll play with 2 holding midfielders, one of them being Nell. I think he's the one that plays a lot of the time in that position. And then I think they'll play with a number 10, maybe someone like Morton, and then with 2 forwards as well. Ashley Cupido and our very own Boitumelo Radiopane, who I'm looking forward to see if he's going to play. I don't know if Orlando Pirates have negotiated any sort of clause in his loan agreement not to play against us, but I don't think it's going to be any use. I think it would be good to test himself against us. So I'm looking forward. This is one of the battles that I'd like to see just how he fares against an opposition which is one of the strongest in the league. So I think they're going to put up that sort of system. And, you know, the system is obviously a defensive one in the sense that they will be trying to stop us from doing what we want to do a lot of the time. I think they'll be coming to Orlando Stadium with a clear plan, which is, if we get anything out of this game, it's really going to be, you know, a party for Cape Town Spurs. However, I think them being fair to themselves and being clear, they know that this is not one of those games where they'll be, you know, counting any sort of points for themselves. I think before the league even kicks off, they'd love to get a point at the most against Orlando Pirates, but I think they already write off those points as, okay, well, these are the ones we don't have to worry about. We don't have to stress. Just go out there and make this a confidence game. If you can do well, then it can knock a bit of confidence. I think a lot of the players from Cape Town Spurs will be playing for moves. And I say that very loosely because they've got a very experienced sort of 11 with players that have played in the highest level in the country and are at the latter stages and are sort of grooming everyone else around them. You know, the Boitumelo Radiopanes are getting a lot of experience from playing alongside people like Clayton Daniels and Ali at the back. Buchanan is another one who's been around the block. Morton himself is another one who's been around the block. So I think I know I say some will be playing for moves, but it's especially the younger players because the core group I think is mostly made of experienced veterans. But to sort of just get into the approach and how I think, and I'll get to Orlando Pirates. I think the approach for Cape Town Spurs, like I said, is going to be a clear one. It's going to be a clear objective. Let's try and be compact. Let's try and be solid. I mean, I watched their game against to sort of learn what they do, and I've watched quite a few of their games, even though those weren't very entertaining watches. I can be entirely honest about that in terms of what they bring to the table. But just watching them come against stronger oppositions, they will like to try and set up in a compact system. And I think they'll be in a 5 tomorrow. The mandate will be, let's try and be compact. Let's try and close those gaps where Orlando Pirates can hurt us, where the best players at Orlando Pirates at the moment, people like, Mufugeng, Maswanganyi, and those kind of guys who are, the people that create chances, the people that give us any threat going forward. How can we best limit them? Let's close those zones, those spaces where they try and operate. I think that will be the mandate for them. Let's have Orlando Pirates have the ball, but if we can limit them to possession that is not threatening our goal, they'll be happy to take that. And obviously something they'll want to play for is probably, can we get a set piece? Can we get something like that where we can nick one and hope for the best? So what we'll probably see them do is they're going to be playing with that 5. I've already mentioned that, and it's going to be, one fullback engaging this one side as we kind of go side to side, one fullback engaging, having that 4 shift. The same thing happening on the other side as the one wing back, sort of fullback engage, the 4 getting compact in the center. You'll have, the 2 central midfielders sitting very close to the back 3, the center backs, the 3 center backs, and you're going to have the number 10 Morton or whoever will be playing there is going to be adding those numbers behind the ball as well, leaving 1 man up front, maybe 2 men at times, but it's going to be mostly a low block of sort of like 8 players behind the ball, and it then kind of going to Orlando Pirates, how do we then break that down? I think mostly for me, this is a game of can Orlando Pirates, because the quality is clear, Orlando Pirates can carve any defense in this league for that matter, including the defense of Mamelodi Sundowns. We can carve that open. I think it's just the case of us having to do what we do very swiftly, very, precise. I think that's the word. We've got to be precise tomorrow. My cry most of the time, and I mean, I'll get to the tactics and who plays and that stuff, but never mind who plays for Orlando Pirates against Cape Town Spurs tomorrow. We've got the quality to carve them open if the system is very efficient. So if what we do is done with tempo, patience at the right time, but quickening of the tempo at the right time, precision of what we do. So I mean, sometimes you're playing at a very high tempo, which is good, but stuff is just not coming together because people aren't doing it precisely. So I mean, this then is the responsibility of those attacking players for us, people like Maswanganyi, people like, and I like to speak about Maswanganyi because I think he's got a great responsibility at Orlando Pirates, and not a sole responsibility. Don't get me wrong, he's not some kind of like star man for us. He's the one that must make things happen. But I do think in the system that we play with a number 10, he's got a duty to be the creative hub for us. So he's got that duty of being someone who, off the ball, on the ball, can he create? Can he move and create those spaces? Can he progress the ball? Can he receive progressive passes in those channels, in those pockets, in those dangerous spaces? Can he receive and turn and create a chance for us? I mean, just by virtue of where he's positioned in our formation, he's got a responsibility that if we're not scoring goals, he's one of the names that are going to be, sort of in the spotlight. What has he done for us? Alongside Mofokeng, who is a very young man, but he's got also that responsibility coming into Orlando Pirates to be someone who does that for us. Now, I mean, Karim Kimvuidi is another one whom we're seeing his rise as well. I mean, we all see his quality is there for everyone to see. And the coach always speaks about how he can grow into a more complete player in terms of understanding the game, how to do things, when to do them. Sorry, not how to do things, because we know he's got the know-how and it's very natural to him. It's mostly just when to do it. I think for young players, it's learning the game and doing it at the right time more than can you do it. I think a lot of these young players, especially in the Orlando Pirates team, including the older ones, people like Lesedi Kapinga, are still there to come in and contribute. A lot of them know how to do it. It's just having that system working for us, coming together as a collective and doing it with precision and speed. And that's what I think is going to be the question for Orlando Pirates to answer tomorrow is, can you open up Cape Town Spurs? Will you fail to open up Cape Town Spurs? Which will be a huge disappointment if we do. And yeah, just sort of, I think I already hinted at this as I close this. I already hinted at this in what I've been saying, that I do think that tomorrow we should be playing with more of our creative players. I do think that we've got to have people that have got an eye, have got a brain, have got a neck for trying to create stuff, people that will want to sort of create magic. Interplays, that's going to be a big one. We've got to have people that have got that nature of wanting to bounce the ball off someone, receiving it again, opening up in those dangerous spaces. I don't think it's those games where we should be using width. So people like Munyani obviously are useful in that regard, or Libito on the right to sort of stretch them and open those gaps in between. On the left, maybe I think we should go with Hoto again, just like in the Polokwane City game, at left back, so he can stretch them. And I don't think it's one of those games where we should be leaving like 4 players behind. I think we can afford to play very high up with numbers, sort of stretching them on the left with the width of Hoto at left back, stretching them on the right, opening that center for then Mofokeng to operate in gaps for, I think, obviously Saleng, or if the coach is going to be going with Maswanganyi and sort of that 3 number 10 thing of Maswanganyi, Mofokeng and Kimvuidi as the 3 number 10s. But what I'm saying is that if we're going to be opening that with our fullbacks, then have those players play in the center. I mean, there's still the conversation of who's playing at number 6. Should we be playing this player or that player? Should we be playing with 2 pivots or not? Of which, I'm not too concerned about playing with 2 pivots. I think when we're playing with Mbata, when I watched the last game, he does his fair share in terms of sort of going up and down, being the one that receives from our first receivers at the back, progressing the play from midfield, receiving, turning, playing that forward pass to move on to the next phase. And then you've got obviously Makehleni, who is playing as sort of the person that gives us that protection, as Mbata is doing his bits. And he does some nice bits, Talent Mbata. Big talent in Talent Mbata we have on our hands, by the way. By my humble opinion. And then, obviously someone like Makaula, Makehleni, playing as that person that protects us and just being the one that keeps it ticking, not doing anything complicated, just passing it, moving it on to the more creative players, sweeping up if sweeping up is necessary. But yeah, I think sort of that's what I'm thinking. I would love for us to still try Lipasa. I'm one who's going to advocate, but I do want to obviously give massive shout out to Evidence Mahopa, who keeps finding these rescue goals for us and is earning that starting place in Orlando Pirates. And I mean, if he plays, it's fine for me. My sort of thing that I'm worried about, as much as he gets the crucial goal every time, which makes it hard to criticize him, but I do think that he's got to spend more time in that box because he's someone who likes to vacate that space and go to that left wing, collect the ball sort of thing, go to that right wing, be in